When I'm a little bored, I play Digger. It's an old game from 80s and this is a Playgo. I believe this is one of the first generations. I'll show perhaps the device in a moment a little bit. So just let's start Digger. Now this is just very classic, but also it's just very well done, and the reason I'm presenting you the interface, this is the kind of start of the game. Look at the date here, 1983. Now we are at the beginnings of video games, and when I say video games I mean even the big consoles that we have in those kind of entertainment places. Those started the big consoles that console that stand on the floor and have one game, one monitor, big monitor screen. Those, I believe, they started somewhere in the late 70s, 77, 8, 9. So this is not far from that moment, and they got this better at the interface. Just look at the characters, the letters, how they are printed, and the colors as well, and the whole interface. And one of the reasons let's start perhaps the game. I can increase the volume. That's right. So the reason I talk about this game, it's because it's so well done, so well done. I'm not going to do a full play, but there's a few things here. This is just the first level, obviously. Let's get the guy eaten. Look at the colors and look just overall at the design. It's just pleasant, and I believe it's so well done. To me, this game was created, was designed, but perhaps the best in the industry, or near the best in the industry at that time. And remember, it's early 80s. So it's not just about a good game idea. It's also about the interface, the sounds as well, which are quite interesting. This is better colors. This is how I see on my screen. The camera sometimes gets off for the colors. So it's not just about the game idea. It's also about the interface. It's also about the sounds, and also about the pace, and if you want, non-repeatability of the game, because there are games that were back in the days. Let's perhaps cut the sound a little. So on this, if you ever have this device, select, press down, select, and this is, let's see, this is the sound. That's just the phone going crazy. This is the sound up, down, and up, and this is the with select pressed, and this is the brightness up. This is higher brightness. Yeah, the camera don't like this. This is the limits of the camera I was talking about in other videos. Phone cameras have definitely limits in some scenarios. So this is going to be brightness. Let's see. Okay, no. This select, press down, select. This is sound up. You don't hear it now, and sound now down. If I press to start the game, this is sound up. This is the loudest. It's really not that loud. This is the dimmest sound. The camera is crazy. And if I keep press select and use the black buttons, it's going to brighten the screen. This is the maximum brightness, and this is about the lowest brightness. You don't see it well because my camera is adjusting. Notice how it didn't light up the rest of the screen, but this is the high brightness. Actually, I find the screen too bright for my eyes, even on the lower brightness, especially at night. That's why I put for a small film which is darkening the screen a little bit more. But I was saying, it's not only about the idea of the game, but also this game, it's just complex, I would say, enough to have you to players, to have you actually not get bored through the stages and even inside a single stage. So it's one of the good things that you would see back in the days only on some games. Not all the games back then were this were this well designed. And again, remember, this is just a few years after the date or the moment when we started to have Wii. I mean, the people back then started to have video games. The first video games were really basic graphics. So it was so well done, and it's something else also. I'm always curious, although I think I know the answer, when some young person is seeing these games. We are talking about 40 years old games, right? So when a new person, a young person is seeing this, I'm fairly sure their first reaction is going to be, it's so childish, it's so simple. But you need to understand that back then, this was the novelty and there was nothing else. And one of the things that you will have, or these young persons will have a big problem understanding, is that for people the same age they are now, today, themselves, this was so much entertainment, so much, not because there wasn't something else available, it's just that it was something new. And I mean, you need to kind of force your imagination. Sometimes very simple, very basic, but well done. It's maybe even better than something like the games that you like download apps on Amazon, on Apple Play or something like this. So sometimes the simple things are also cool. Also cool. I can tell you again, back then, in those days, in the 80s, even handheld consoles, which were much simple, much less complex games, were just cool to have and cool to play on them. So yes. Now about this console, maybe just one more thing. Let me just take down the. Let's get this wrong. Screen brightness. So this is an older PlayGo. Chinese made. I guess it has. It takes an SD card at the top. That's the on-off switch. At the bottom, you have to plug the charger plug. The camera doesn't really like it. I guess it gets some sort of competition. You also have a audio plug, 3.5 standard, and it has many weird buttons. And this is an old generation. I think it's maybe 3-4 years old or so. Notice the size of the screen, which is very small, but for some games it was just enough. For other games it was way too small, not really pleasant to use. And notice the size, it's very small. This is my hand, it fits in your pocket. This is one of the advantages of it. This is the thickness, it's very slim. There's no rear buttons, the battery is in there. This one, it's really hard to open, but it's a removable battery, a standard battery, and actually it does still hold the charge very well, many hours. I don't know how many, I don't know, maybe 10 hours of game or something like this. But I was saying this is an older device that's no longer for sale, and it wasn't that expensive back then. I don't really recall what I paid for it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 45 USD or something like this. Now you have, if you go on AliExpress, it's about the newer one, about the same dimensions, just perhaps slightly bigger, except that the screen now it's almost, imagine almost the upper half, it's full screen, just a very slim edge around the screen. So it's a much bigger, well, much bigger. You understand what I mean? A bigger screen, much better visibility for sure, but also it got more expensive. I think it runs from around, last time I checked, maybe 70 USD or more. So it's more expensive. It kind of gets into a, you know, a price tag that's making you thinking twice. Now mine, this one that you have in a video, got, yes, he got quite a few games, several platforms. I remember people were, you want to see perhaps much details here, people were very, very happy with this back in the days. Myself, I was looking mostly for retro games, the type of Digger, if you want. River Raid, I have another Berserk on it. So that type of game. It also had other platforms, other consoles, Sony, many others actually. I don't even know where to go to show you anything, but it wasn't what I was looking for. So for the kind of game that we have, that was talking Digger, I think I can navigate more. Not sure how I would, this buttons maybe. Okay, so it gives you, it says Atari 2800 I believe, or 2600, but you don't really find it, you don't, I apologize for the camera, that's how it goes, you don't really find a lot of interesting games to my opinion. But again, this is really a matter of taste. A lot of fighting games, or street fighters or karate or whatever, and also the selection of games was very difficult on this older model, and it was also very difficult to kind of just kind of create a new folder and move the games that you want on a new folder, or maybe just pin them on the screen with those icons. So it was difficult to modify this thing. Also, as of 2026, it's almost impossible to find compatible games and install them and have them working. However, perhaps on the new consoles, it's different. It's improved, perhaps I'm saying. I don't know. And also, one of the things with this, the first thing that I remember, 6, 7 buttons plus this thing here, this knob. Crazy difficult to find which button does what, and for different platforms there were different functions for each button, so it was so annoying just to remember how to go back on the main screen right now. Perhaps, yeah, this is a classic. I don't even know how to, yeah, that I don't even know what to press to get back on the main screen, as simple as that. So that in that respect, it was terrible, just terrible and frustrating. But I guess at some point you would get it. But there were always some games that you get in and no button would ever bring you back. So at that moment you just reboot the whole device, restart it, turn it off and on. So all this to say that it's fun, it's limited. Perhaps the newer one are better if you can even install new games that you can find on internet or some websites. But that's how it goes.